Some stories begin with a whisper. Mine started with a hurricane inside my chest. I was standing in the principal's office, my hands shaking, trying not to cry, while two people in clothes that cost more than my rent stared at me like I was something they'd stepped in. They didn't even hide their smirks. To them, I wasn't a mother fighting for her kid. I was a mess, a single parent who never should have tried to do this by myself. A wrong choice in cheap shoes and a worn-out jacket. They had no idea, not a single clue, that one phone call from me could bring a storm down on their perfect little world and wipe those smug looks right off their faces. If you've ever been made to feel like you aren't good enough, like your best efforts will never measure up, then you understand the storm I felt building inside me that day. This isn't just a story about facing down bullies. It's about discovering that the greatest strength often comes from the place you least expect. So stay with me, hit the subscribe button to support the women around the world, because when the true family steps into the fight, everything changes. My name is Lena. I'm 37. For most of my life, I built walls around myself so high that nothing good could get in and nothing bad could get out. I thought that was how you stayed safe. I know now it was just being scared, pretending to be brave. My first lesson in love came from my dad, Robert. He taught me how quickly it can all disappear. I was 12 when I found my mom, Diane, sobbing at the kitchen table, holding a letter that proved he was seeing someone else. He didn't just leave us. He replaced us. Vanished into a new life with a new family, leaving behind a mountain of debt and a girl who learned a hard truth too young. A man's love doesn't always last. My mom worked herself sick to keep a roof over our heads. 2 jobs, sometimes 3, hand-me-down clothes, and dinners that were more about filling our stomachs than tasting good. I learned not to expect anyone to save us. I learned that sometimes staying quiet is the only power you have left. 3 years later, she met someone new. His name was Charles. I was 15, angry at the world, and I didn't trust a single kind word he said. Charles was nothing like my father. He was steady, patient, and he had money. He owned a lot of property in the city, and that just made me more nervous. I was sure that people with power always wanted something in return. So I shut him out. I never called him Dad. I wouldn't take his gifts. When he offered to pay for college, I took out loans instead. I wasn't going to let any man think he owned me. On my 18th birthday, I packed my things, walked out the door, and never looked back. The years went by. I waited tables, served coffee, and worked double shifts to pay off those stubborn loans. That's where I met David. I was 24, he was 26, an artist with big dreams and a sketchbook always in his hand. I was so tired all the time, and he actually saw me. That was enough. After so long trying to be tough, here was someone who made me laugh over forgotten orders and shared stories on the late train home. He told me I was beautiful even when I was exhausted. He made everything feel a little easier. 6 months later, we moved in together. 2 years after that, I was pregnant. And for a little while, I let myself believe that maybe happy endings were possible for someone like me. At first, David was over the moon. He bought baby name books, talked about finding a bigger place. But hope can be a tricky thing. As my pregnancy went on, he started to pull away. His nights out got longer, his texts got shorter. The excuses started piling up. By the time I was 7 months along, I found the messages on his phone. Flirty texts that made my heart sink. When I asked him about it, he didn't even say he was sorry. He said I had changed. He said I wasn't having fun anymore. He said he needed room to breathe. He left with a single bag and a whole lot of self-pity. 7 weeks later, my daughter Chloe was born. He never showed up. Never called. Never sent a single dollar. It was like we never existed. That was my second lesson. Every man leaves. It's only a matter of time. I held on to that bitter truth for years. Charles, my stepdad, never stopped trying. Birthday cards, little gifts, messages through my mom that I always ignored. I thought I was winning by keeping him away. I thought being strong meant being alone. Then came the day that tested everything I thought I knew. My daughter Chloe, 10 years old, quiet and creative, a little burst of sunshine, started coming home from school with red, puffy eyes. At first it was just whispers, mean giggles, the kind of quiet bullying kids learn from adults. But it got worse. A girl named Sophia, whose parents thought their money made them better than everyone, decided to make my daughter her target. For weeks, she followed Chloe around with words that cut deep. You don't have a dad because your mom drove him away. That's why you're alone. No one will ever want you. Chloe tried to be strong. She really did. But everyone has a breaking point. When Sophia ripped up Chloe's art project, a beautiful bird she had worked on for weeks, and sneered, "Kids without dads don't get to win," something in my daughter snapped. She shoved Sophia. Sophia fell, skinned her elbow, and ran home crying. That was all it took. The next morning, my phone rang. "Ms. Lena," Principal Miller said, his voice tight. "We need to see you right away about your daughter." When I got to his office, the air felt heavy. Principal Miller was behind his desk, looking nervous. Next to him sat Mark and Melissa Grant, dressed like they were about to go on television. Mark sat with his legs crossed, a man who told me he was a lawyer before he even told me his name. Melissa's perfume was so strong it made my eyes water. She gave me a cold, sharp smile. "Ms. Lena, thank you for coming," Principal Miller began. "We have a serious situation." I tried to stay calm. I explained everything. The weeks of teasing, the hurtful words, the texts from Chloe begging me not to make her go to school. I showed them my phone as proof. That's when Melissa's voice cut through the room. "That's enough," she said sharply. "Your daughter assaulted mine." She pushed her. That's violence. I was stunned. She was defending herself after months of. Melissa leaned forward, her eyes cold. "Children from unstable homes often act out, Ms. Lena. It's truly a shame. No father around, just you, clearly struggling. Some people aren't cut out for parenting on their own." Her words hit me like a punch. I felt the room spin. Mark slid a piece of paper toward me. "We're willing to keep the police out of this if you sign," he said smoothly. I looked down. It wasn't just an apology. It was a confession saying I was a bad parent, that my unstable life caused my daughter's behavior, that I took all the blame. "You want me to say I'm a terrible mother?" I whispered, my voice barely there. Melissa tilted her head, pretending to care. "We want you to take responsibility. Maybe look into a parenting class. Every child needs a man's influence. It's just common sense." Even Principal Miller looked uncomfortable, but he cleared his throat. "Ms. Lena, until you sign and show true remorse, Chloe will be suspended. We can't allow this behavior." I sat there, frozen and humiliated. This wasn't just about Chloe. This was a punishment for every hard choice I'd ever made. For getting pregnant, for being left, for trying to survive. They were telling me the pain we went through was my fault. And now my daughter was paying for it. I left that office in a daze. I didn't sign anything. I just walked to my car and sat there, shaking. When I got home, Chloe was waiting. Her face was blotchy from crying. She looked up at me with her big, sad eyes and asked the question that shattered my heart. "Mommy, why doesn't my daddy love me?" I had no answer. Am I suspended? Is it because I'm bad? Because Sophia is right? That was the moment. The moment every wall I had built finally collapsed. I saw that I was failing my daughter. Not because I was single, but because I was too proud and too scared to ask for help from the one person who had always offered it. Chloe needed a defender. She needed to see that Sophia's words were lies. She needed to know that a man could be loyal and strong and good. I walked into the kitchen, my hands still shaking, and found my phone. I scrolled to a contact I hadn't used in over 20 years. Charles, my stepfather. I pressed the call before I could change my mind. He answered on the second ring. Lena? His voice was older, but still calm and steady, like he'd been waiting for this call my whole life. I couldn't speak at first. Then it all came pouring out. The bullying, the suspension, the awful letter, the way they'd shamed me, called me a failure. There was silence on the other end. Then Charles's voice came back, but it was different now. It was cold and hard. "Lena, listen to me," he said. "You are my daughter. Chloe is my granddaughter. Those people have made a very big mistake. You have not failed her. They have failed you." He told me not to sign anything. Not to talk to anyone. "I will handle this," he said. I told him I didn't want his money. "This isn't about money," he said, his voice softening just a little. "This is about family. You've been my family since the day I married your mother. I'm sorry I let you push me away for so long. But I am not letting you face this alone. Not anymore." He told me to meet him at the school the next morning at 9 sharp. He would be there. I hung up the phone, my mind racing. What had I just done? Would he actually come? Or would this be one more man letting me down? I didn't sleep at all that night. I just lay there, thinking about every cruel word, every smug look on the Grants' faces. But at 5 minutes to 9, standing outside the principal's office, I saw a dark car pull up. The door opened, and Charles stepped out. He looked like exactly what he was, a man of power, influence, and no patience for unfairness. He walked over to me, put a firm hand on my shoulder, and gave a single nod. For the first time in 20 years, I didn't feel like I was fighting by myself. We walked into that office together. The Grants were already there, looking pleased with themselves. Principal Miller was at his desk, ready to end this. Then Charles spoke. "Good morning, Mr. Miller." The principal looked up, and his face went pale. He knew exactly who Charles was. Everyone in this town knew Charles. He donated to school programs. He advised the school board. He was not someone you wanted to cross. "Mr. Charles," Principal Miller stammered, standing up. "I didn't know you were. I'm Lena's stepfather," Charles said calmly, sitting down across from the Grants. "And Chloe's grandfather. I understand there's been some misunderstanding about what happened here." Melissa Grant, still acting tough, gave a tight smile. "We're simply asking for an apology for your granddaughter's violent actions, sir. I'm sure you understand the importance of discipline." Charles looked at her with a calm that felt more dangerous than shouting. "Mrs. Grant, let me be clear. Your daughter has been mentally abusing my granddaughter for weeks, using deeply personal and hateful language about her family. When your daughter destroyed Chloe's property and mocked her for not having a father, Chloe defended herself. That is not violence. That is survival. Mark Grant leaned forward. With all due respect, Mr. Charles, Chloe pushed our daughter. Charles cut him off, his voice like iron. Your daughter has been bullying mine, repeatedly and cruelly, and you too have been encouraging it, spreading nasty rumors about my daughter's parenting, calling her unfit. That, Mr. Grant, is defamation. And I do not tolerate it. The room went completely silent. Charles turned to Principal Miller. Here is what will happen. You will reinstate Chloe immediately with a formal apology from the school. The Grants will write a letter of apology to both Lena and Chloe, and their daughter will be enrolled in an anti-bullying program. If any of this is refused, I will take this to the school board, the newspapers, and my lawyers. The choice is yours. Principal Miller looked like he might be sick. Mr. Charles, I'm certain we can work this out. Then work it out now, Charles said. The Grants' faces went from smug to scared. Mark tried to argue, but one look from Charles shut him down. 20 minutes later, I walked out of that office with a written apology, Chloe's spot back in school, and the knowledge that the Grants had been completely defeated. Charles didn't boast. He just squeezed my shoulder and said, "You're a wonderful mother, Lena. Never let anyone make you think otherwise." Walking outside into the sun that day, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Safe. Cared for. Loved. Charles didn't just win an argument. He gave me back my pride. He showed me that family isn't about who you're related to by blood. It's about who stands beside you when your world is falling apart. Chloe got her happy school life back, and I finally found my father. If you believe Charles is what a true father should be, then hit that like button with all your heart. If this story sent shivers down your spine, leave a comment below and tell me what you would have done in my shoes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because every single day we bring you new stories where justice isn't just an idea, it's a promise that gets kept. I'll see you in the next video.